Today is all about second chances. That's what's coming up.
Going to prison was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the biggest blessing I've ever had.
This was my goal, my destiny, show to audience, look, ordinary pets from the animal shelter, but they are talented, they are smart, and if after my show someone from the audience adopt kitty or doggy, I feel like my message reached target.
I just knew that I needed to change, and my wife knew that something was wrong. The breakup of this thing that, was very important to me, all of those things together just put me in a really dark headspace. I mean, I was struggling with alcohol.
Hello and welcome to the Whitney Reynolds Show. Today we're talking second chances, where a new start takes center stage.
Awakening the soul of our stories.
Come for the stories, stay for the heart, where every journey
You might recognize a new look. We are ready to take things to the next level.
you'll see. Whitney's here to share your dream. It's the Whitney
You are watching the Whitney Reynolds Show. Be careful.
Chicago to your home. Real voices, real lives in every episode. This is the Whitney Reynolds Show.
If you were to hear the words life in prison, you might feel hopeless and that things were over. However, our next guest got her start behind bars. Let's take a look.
I didn't know he had another side to him.
When did you uncover that something was terribly wrong?
I uncovered something was wrong whenever he started talking to me about a gentleman that owned a jewelry store. And he said that he needed to meet with him, he needed to talk to him, he needed to get with him. And I couldn't understand why. And that's whenever everything just went crazy.
Then the unthinkable happened. In her new book, she details the day her life changed forever.
Greg loomed over him, gun still raised. Harry's pleas filled the air, desperate and raw. Please, don't. I squeezed my eyes shut. Another shot rang out. When I opened them, Harry lay motionless. The gunshot's echo faded, leaving an eerie silence. Greg moved with mechanical precision, rifling through Harry's pockets. I stood frozen, unable to process what I'd just witnessed.
I see where he didn't even care. He didn't care about me. He didn't care what was going on with me. I could have been laying there myself and him not care.
When did the police start looking for you?
It was media coverage everywhere, a very high profile case. We had the same attorney representing us both, which was a serious constitutional conflict of interest. He knew what my defense was going to be and to ensure that it didn't involve him.
So you were found guilty and he was not?
He was not.
The words life in prison shook her world in so many ways. Yet it was behind those bars where she found her faith.
Oh my gosh. These volunteers, they actually really love us and care about us. I knew about God, but I hadn't seen the love from people. There's all different kinds of addictions. My addiction was love.
You started writing a new song back there. You started helping women.
I became a certified paralegal. I graduated with honors.
From prison?
From prison. The law put me there, so I had to figure out how the law is going to help me get out of there. People don't know how to have that hope. They don't know how to get out of situations that they feel is hopeless. They're lost, and they want to give up.
When the Light Finds Us brings the hope that Judy found to her readers. She also now advocates for women and even helped pass Missouri's first battered woman bill.
As I stepped beyond those gates, I held my head high. I wasn't just leaving prison. I was carrying with me a hard-won truth. No matter what life throws at us, we always have the power to choose who we become in the darkness.
You need to look at your situation because there's something in it for you to learn. With those things that happen to you, there is a purpose.
You look like someone I could meet in the grocery store and become friends with.
Yes.
Little do you know that you helped smuggle a lover out of prison.
That's right. Out of a medium custody prison, a maximum security prison, too.
You were married at the time.
I was married,
Were you happily married?
No, but I never admitted it to myself. And I didn't realize that I wasn't happy until I met John Maynard, and I was like, oh man, now I know what this should feel like. We had a 100-mile-an-hour car chase on the interstate. I wrote to the warden of the prison, and he wrote back to me, I hope that you go on and do something great with your life, because this is not who you are. And so I tried to live up to that.
Toby Dorr, welcome back to our show.
Thank you so much, Whitney.
Yes,
I'm delighted to be back in Chicago.
Yes, you flew in today.
I did, and I'm flying out today too.
Oh my goodness, a fast trip. We're talking about resilience.
Yes.
And for our viewers that maybe didn't see you the first time, we just showed that sizzle. That was a lot to unpack.
It was a crazy story. It still is. Sometimes I can't believe it's my own story, but I started a prison dog program and fell in love with one of the dog handlers, helped him escape. We went on the run for 12 days, got caught in a high-speed car chase, and I went to prison for 27 months.
27 months. What was that like for you in that time when you weren't sure what your future looked like?
You know, going to prison was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the biggest blessing I've ever had, because I never had time to do anything. My life was so crazy busy. But in prison, all you have is time and absolutely nothing to do with it. So I used that time to do a lot of self-healing and self-exploring and kind of figure out where I wanted to go with my life.
You know, our guest before you today, she also did the same when it came to her story behind bars, but you were one that also, when you got out, decided you wanted to help others.
Yes, I did. And that is my mission. In fact, this year I'm starting a nonprofit organization called Fierce Grace. And our mission is to put workbooks into women's prisons in every state in the country.
It's wild because our last guest, again, before you, is also encouraging people behind bars.
Yes.
What was it that really sparked that moment for you saying, I want to use my story? Because it's one that some other person might want to say, okay, I'm out. I don't want people to know. But you're actually owning that.
I was going to get out. My plan was to change my name. I was going to be Sophie Martin, and I was going to go somewhere where nobody knew me and start over. But that's not me. I can't do that. And so on my darkest day in prison, I was on suicide watch, and I truly was suicidal at that moment. And I was praying really hard to God to just let me be done. This is too much to ask of anybody. I can't do it. And instead of him answering my prayer, he told me that I would get through it and I'd be just fine. And he'd be right there with me every step of the way. And when I got out, I was going to use my story to change the lives of women. So how can you not do it? I mean, you made a deal.
You made a deal
with God.
Bars.
Yes.
And when you heard that voice, it was very prevalent.
It was undoubtedly just this voice that filled the whole room. And it was very calm and very authoritative and very loving. And the temperature of the room even changed because it's very cold in prison. It's freezing. And in suicide watch, you're naked. Ooh. So it's cold. It's really cold. It's like 60 degrees and concrete floor and concrete walls. And the room warmed up. Wow. And the light changed. I mean, it was a physical and an emotional and a spiritual and a mental connection.
Oh my goodness.
All at once. And it was unbelievable.
And you did exactly.
I did exactly that.
You're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about an update for our viewers, because as I said in that last interview, you look like someone I could meet on the bread aisle and become good friends with.
Yes.
But you've not only gone forward and helped women, you've gotten remarried.
Yes.
And you have an update about John.
Yes, I do have an update about John. So, John is the man that I helped escape from prison. And John was always special in my life. And my husband, my new husband, and I actually went and visited him in prison. So my husband met him, and my husband talked to him on the phone. And my husband really cared about John too. And we both felt like John kind of got a raw deal because he was serving a life sentence for murder when he didn't kill anybody. He just happened to be there at the time when his buddy killed somebody, and that's a felony murder rule. And so my husband and I actually started a podcast to educate people about felony murder and how ridiculous it is. And John was going to be on our podcast. And so I talked to him on Friday night, and made a deal that he was going to call me at 6:30 on Monday, and I was going to start recording before 6:30 so that when the phone rang and it said, "You have a call from an inmate," that I'd get that on the recording. And instead, on Sunday, I got a text from John's girlfriend who told me that he'd been found unresponsive in his prison cell. And it just was devastating. It was devastating. But, in the end, John's free, finally. He's free. And so he's better off. But, in the last 5 months of our conversations through emails, they had kind of changed. And he was really digging deep. And he told me, that if anything else popped off in there, he was done. He was out of there. And I just thought he meant he'd get in a fight and go to SEG. I didn't know he meant he'd go. And then he asked me for a Bible. He said he wanted to study the Bible. So Chris and I sent him a Bible, a really nice leather study Bible. And John would email me and talk about different scriptures he was reading, and I, have discussions with him. And it was a different John. It was a John that was seeking.
How do you move forward with a loss like this? That was a wound that had healed. Did it reopen it?
It reopened a different wound. Yeah, a whole different wound, because John's story was just heartbreaking. But he's one of hundreds with the same heartbreaking story here in the country. And something needs to change in our criminal justice system. And so, my husband and I are kind of on this mission, a grassroots effort to educate people about the unfairness of felony murder.
Oh, wow.
And we're the only country that has a felony murder rule. And so we're releasing a second edition of my memoir with an added chapter at the end.
Oh, man.
So,
well, we'll have to check that out. Toby, thank
yes.
you again.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And now we turn to a singer, a boy band phenomena, and a man who owned his story on national television. Meet Creigh Riepe.
I grew up in a small town in Virginia. I lost my dad when I was 14. That was a tough age to lose, that figure in your life. And he had always been supportive of me creating music and pursuing that. And
what did he pass away from?
He had lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
Mm-hmm. At 14, I was like, of course he's going to be around to see me graduate. Of course he's going to be around to see me get married. Of course he's going to be around to see all of these big moments in my life. But 6 months later, he passed away.
So music really got you through.
Mm-hmm.
How did you channel that energy during that time?
Well, I think early on, it wound up being something else to focus on. I hate to call it a distraction because it was more than that. It was a good way to redirect kind of my attention.
And redirecting it did. You joined a boy band.
Right out of college, I was approached by this band who was looking for another member. The style of the music, it was very like pop country, and the harmonies. The harmonies is what really attracted me early on, because I love big vocal groups like the Eagles and like Little Texas. And we got to open for Tim McGraw. That was in Monticello, Iowa. That was 20,000 people. That was the biggest show we ever played.
Well, and then your band did break up.
We did, yes.
Yeah, how did you handle, it's not like a breakup of a relationship, but it is.
We were together a lot, and it did feel like, the ending of a relationship. At that point, I just found myself in a really dark place, because I had invested like all of my creative energy into this band for, 4 years, 5 years out of college, and thought that was what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life. Like, I loved these guys. I mean, I was stuck again, and part of what was causing all of that inner turmoil was that I had never really truly confronted the loss of my dad. That was part of it from a young age. There was a lot of kind of like undealt with grief there. And then, here comes again the breakup of this thing that, was very important to me. All of those things together just put me in a really dark headspace of not knowing what the future was going to look like, not having a whole lot of hope.
Right.
I just knew that I needed to change. And my wife knew that something was wrong. I mean, I was struggling with alcohol. And so to get out of that, I just had a wake-up call that, you know, I need to live for my family. I need to be the dad that I want to be. I need to be the spouse that I picture myself to be. I had a true awakening in my faith that I had never had before. It was a radical transformation, unlike anything that I've ever experienced in my life. And so the person that you're speaking to right now is a very, very different person that existed, you know, 5 years ago.
Creigh Riepe discovered a newfound courage to share his story with the nation, not only on our stage, but also on The Voice. Faced with the daunting task of owning his challenging chapters publicly, he transformed vulnerability into strength, revealing the depths of his experience through music.
You put your story out there. How freeing was that?
It was really cool because I had never done anything like that vulnerable, you know, aside from a one-on-one conversation in a closed room. It was very liberating and freeing to share that and to be comfortable doing it, because I'd never been comfortable sharing anything that didn't paint me in a positive light ahead of that.
What was it like for your daughter to see you on the national scale?
Well, she was there for the blind auditions, and so I was walking out of the doors and I could see Sarah and Eliza and Florence, and Florence, she just waves and she goes, "Hi, Daddy." She was very excited about it.
She had her little debut.
She did.
Okay, so let's talk about what you're doing now. You are writing more music. How do you come up with what you're writing?
I'm writing things that are not just important to me, but things that I hope will inspire some sort of life change in other people. The greatest purpose behind what I'm doing now is to inspire life change for those people who are still living for themselves and have not had the eye-opening experience that I was blessed to have, to see that I needed a radical change in my life to experience the goodness of this life that I know I was called to experience. My goals are to be the best dad and the best husband, the best person that I can be, and to share my story with the world so that I can hopefully help other people change their lives for the better.
Our next guest gives our four-legged friends a second chance. Let's take a look. Gregory Popovich, welcome.
Hello.
Hello. You are full of tricks, and I actually saw these firsthand. I learned about Gregory when my family and I went to Vegas. I have a son that wants to be a zookeeper, and so when I saw your show and what you're doing, I thought, oh my goodness, this would be great for the kids. But then when I learned about your story and how you incorporate all these animals and really give them a second chance at it, it's incredible what you're doing.
Thank you. It was my goal, my destiny, show to audience, look, ordinary pets from the animal shelter, but they are talented, they are smart, and if after my show someone from the audience adopt kitty or doggy, I feel like my message reached target.
I love that. So for the viewers, they saw a little bit of a sizzle reel of your show, but I want to know, how would you describe it?
It is not like a circus style show or not like a just variety show. We try to build small story about character clown who has been kicked out from the circus, and then he found on the street homeless pets and come back to the show business with success.
His show is unique, and so is his personal story. He grew up in Ukraine with parents who were in the circus. His dad, known for his juggling, and his grandfather, also a juggler, and even did this for the royal family. His mom, working with him backstage, helping him learn passion and purpose.
You were one of the first in the Ringling Brothers Circus from the Soviet Union.
Yes, it was after communism system collapse, and the Ringling Brothers agent came to the Soviet Union and they saw my act in the circus festival. I win a lot of circus festival as a juggler, and they invite me join to the Ringling. I start train dogs, but then I decide, okay, let me try work with house cats. Boom, that was hit, because before me, nobody in the United States trained house cats. And after maybe 1 month or 2 months, agents start calling me and say, hey, Jay Leno would like book you. Hey, David Letterman would like invite you. Greg Ferguson. interesting. The house cats give me, like, it's my ticket to the big media.
For our viewers out there that maybe feel like they need that second chance, but to give it to themselves, what would you say?
First of all, I think when you go on stage, you have to be honest. You have to be show audience what you're feeling, what bother you as a performer, as a human. So the situation with pets bother me personally because as a pet lover, I find out so many different stories how those poor pets come to the shelter. Not many people know. After 3 months, if nobody adopts, those pets go to the sleep.
When did you come up with this idea of going to the shelter and getting your performers?
In Soviet Union, we doesn't have shelters. And when I start build my show, I ask American friends, hey, where can, do you have any pets? I can would like to have it. If anybody...
You literally ask people, do you have any pets that could be in my show?
And they recommend me visit local animal shelter. Then I start talk with shelter's worker, and they told me story. So that's start bother me. And from that point, I decide in my show, I'm gonna use pets, I'm gonna participate with pets only from the shelter.
Gregory Popovich brought the energy to our studio. We originally saw his act in Vegas, but just like today's topic, he offered me a second chance. There we go, and we got it just like that. Today's topic is on second chances, and our next two guests remind us how their characters pulled through to their fresh start, even in the throes of chaos.
My mom's awaiting her murder trial, and everyone at school is looking at me like I'm in the circus. It's fun. Your college essay writes itself.
The well-known Netflix mother and daughter duo and Ginny and Georgia are navigating challenges like never before. Brianne Howie and Antonia Gentry explain how their characters navigate it all in the fresh start of season 3.
Well, this new season really had me like on the edge of my seat because I relate so much with your character. Not that I've like actually done some of the things you've done. What is your favorite part about your role this season?
Oh my gosh, so much. I think it was really fun to see how much Georgia changes this season. She was almost unrecognizable at times. She changes so much from the first episode to the last episode. And it's a hard, heavy season, particularly for Georgia. I mean, for everyone. But Georgia really has her breakdown so she could get to her breakthrough.
And in the breakthrough, when you were reading through the lines and seeing how this would go, were you so happy for your character?
Yes, to an extent. I mean, I'm happy that she's growing and changing and, you know, starting to become a little bit more aware of what she's put her children through and the ramifications of all of that.
I've always known my mom was different. There's more to her that people don't see.
Everyone thinks I'm a violent, unhinged monster.
You can't give up.
At least it can't get any worse, right? Except if I go to prison, that would be worse.
This comedy dives headfirst into life's chaos. Breakthroughs do happen, and this family's resilience to stay together is tested. Something most families can relate to.
What do you hope viewers take away from this season?
I think that this season really does just sort of take the relationship of these characters and takes it to the next level. And I guess for me, it really is just about sort of the impacts and consequences that parents make and how those choices and actions impact their kids. And for me, if it's just about opening up conversation between a parent and a child about things that maybe their parents are doing that affects their child that they don't realize, like things like that, having those kinds of conversations, I think it's very important.
I've had people come up to me for better or for worse saying it helped them work through their relationship with their mom.
I love it. Well, thank you both so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Because of your streaming with us today, we have something a little extra. This next segment is a special bonus, our way of saying thank you for watching and being part of our hope-filled community.
Welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
you. Yes. You are one that had to redefine your narrative and put on your entrepreneurial hat.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about your story.
It really starts at the divorce chapter because that's when things started to get very difficult.
Meet Karen Levine, founder of Peach Skin Sheets. Following a divorce, she pivoted to start her own brand, proving it's never too late to follow a new path.
You started a business
in the midst of all this.
Yes, I do have a network marketing background and knew that the type of product that usually does the best is the one that's consumable, that customers have to replace. So sheets fit that bill. And then also it was able to bring in my love for interior design and color. So it really just was an incredible product to pursue. And that's really how it started at the kitchen table. My son was doing the boxes in the garage and neighbors would come to the garage. We need sheets.
Yeah, I love it. And they are so soft. How did you come up with the name Peach Skin?
Well, in the industry, it's known as a peach skin finish, which just happened to be a wonderful coincidence because I'm from Atlanta and it's the peach state. And, I thought, well, it would naturally be called peach skin sheets.
Every story today reminds us it's never too late to rewrite your narrative. Remember, your story matters.